Hey Big Bulls, welcome back to yet another edition of Bullseye, and today we've got...
So we're going to talk about Tata Consumer share price surge, we're going to talk about Bharat Electronics target miss, and is the NSDL IPO coming soon? So let's start. So Nitin, you know this brand, right? Whether it's your morning cup of tea or salt and spices being stacked up in the pantry, Tata Consumer Products is like a staple in every Indian household's kitchen as well.
And I think that's feeding into investors and brokerages as well now. There seems to be a bit of a buzz about the stock. Investors have been lapping up the shares. The share price is trending higher. Brokerages have turned bullish and they're turned positive on the company as well. So tell me what's going on this front.
So Nitin, you mentioned brokerages being optimistic about the company, right? And there's this recent report by Goldman Sachs where they've mentioned how this positive vibe is actually related to the smart moves made by the company recently, and they are saying that the company is really doing well with innovation and even expanding its distribution in the growth areas, right? Okay. And also the drop in net interest costs, which has happened due to their debt from acquisitions being paid off. This is another positive sign that can be seen for the company, right? And while competition is still a worry for, FMCG player like Tata Consumer, Goldman Sachs feels that the worst is over for Tata Consumer Products, right? And it also expects the company to grow significantly when it comes to its earnings per share, that is EPS, from FY25 to 27. And this is because they expect the tea prices to go up, and which will help boost the company's profit margins as well, right? And after all, 1 in every 3 household in India wakes up to a cup of Tata tea. That is what the company claims, right? So this report also lauded the company's ability to handle rising costs while also keeping its profits stable.
Right. You mentioned acquisition, so let's not forget about that. Tell me a little bit about what they've done.
Right. So recently, at least last year, they acquired Capital Foods, known for brands like Ching's and Smith & Jones as well, right? And they also acquired Organic India. Now, this obviously fits into the strategy of the company to boost its offerings, especially in urban as well as rural areas as well, right?
You mentioned competition earlier, Saloni, but I have one question over and above that. There's been a lot of noise about the slump in demand for FMCG products, especially from urban India. So what's the counter to that?
Right. So, as you mentioned, like urban demand has definitely slowed down, but that has pushed many FMCG brands to push for that premiumization play, right? That is to target the wealthier crowd to boost sales and profits.
Right.
Now, even for Tata Consumer, they want to do the same, right? They are planning to roll out premium versions across its products. And even its CEO, Ajit Krishna Kumar, told Money Control that because these premium options are becoming the trend in the space, even their products will obviously have more premium variants added to them.
Got it. So they're targeting the wealthier segment of India too.
Yes.
All right.
So then Bharat Electronics is in news, and it looks like they obviously did not quite hit the mark with their order inflow target. So what's happening?
So let me pull out the numbers for you, Saloni. For FY25, the order numbers have come in lower than expected. They were targeting 25,000 crores worth of orders. They've hit only 18,715 crores. And that's because there's been primarily a delay in finalization of 3 key orders. But since there's been a big miss on the order book front, investors have sort of punished the stock. And on Wednesday, the stock dropped by 6%.
But what does BL actually do? I know it's a defense player, but what exactly is its primary focus?
Right. So BL is a public sector entity. The government of India does have a majority stake in it, over 51%. And BL specializes in all these cutting edge equipment for the Indian Army, Navy, Air Force, right? So that's still the primary business, but it has branched out into other stuff as well, right? So they have been involved in smart city projects across India. They've been involved in space tech, even electric vehicle charging and cyber security for that matter, right? So there's a lot that they're doing, and medical electronics as well. So there's a lot that BL is doing, but at the end of the day, it's still primarily a defense-oriented play. And it didn't matter. So we talked about the order book, but what I want to highlight over here is that its revenues did grow, right? So there's no doubt about that. Revenues did grow by 16% over the previous financial year. But at the end of the day, for a company like this, the order book is also extremely crucial because the order book is actually signifying what the future potential of the company looks like. The more orders it's able to get, the more revenues it's able to generate, and hopefully that translates into the profits at the end of the day. So BL gives financial guidance to set expectations for the year ahead. And if they miss that, that is when investors get a little jittery, and oftentimes, like we have seen yesterday, they punish the stock.
Right. But what does the future of the company look like now?
Okay, so we mentioned defense orders. Let me again tell you a number. 80% of their revenue does come from defense. So at the end of the day, that is still their biggest play. Now, we did say that BL has branched out, so it does do some international orders and non-defense, but defense is its key. 80% of the business comes from defense orders for BL. Internationally, while the total order book is around 71,600 crores, 3,000 worth of it is coming from international export orders. But India is aiming to boost defense exports to 50,000 crore rupees by 2029. And if India is looking to boost their orders to such a large degree, investors would hope that BL would be a key beneficiary of this for the future.
So that's something to watch out for BL.
Definitely.
Right.
All right, finally, Saloni, let's talk about what could be the NSDL IPO.
Right. So, back in the day, India was dependent on paper for doing its trade settlements, right? Now, this, of course, caused all sorts of problems related to bad deliveries and even delays. So, to fix this, in 1996 is when Depositories Act was rolled out, and this kicked off the creation of National Securities Depository Limited, or NSDL as we know, and which is now one of the biggest depositories in the world, right? The whole idea behind it was to make holding, transferring, and even settling securities a whole lot easier, of course, in electronic format, right? And this was basically to play a key role in the dematerialization of securities in India.
Right. So investors don't actually directly deal with a company like NSDL, right? There's a depository participant, or a DP, which is sort of like the middleman in all this. And they do everything on the investor's behalf.
Right, that's true. And even if you talk about NSDL, it's actually the oldest of its kind in India, right? Even though its competitors, Central Depository Services Limited, obviously is listed now, but that was founded in 1999 and it got listed in 2017. So now, obviously, NSDL also wants to join the ranks of being, the listed company in India.
But they also have to deal with a rule, which is why they're actually going to list in the markets, right? Which is that for a depository entity, the single shareholding should not be more than 15%.
And that is one of the reasons why NSDL first filed its IPO papers with SEBI in July 2023, and they got the approval in September 2024 as well. Yeah. And as per the regulation, they had to list by April 2025, but they couldn't do it, right? That was because of market conditions and also the prep time that they needed, right? So they asked for an extension from the market regulator, and looks like SEBI heard them, and now they have given them time till July to list, right? And just to give a sense of what the IPO is going to be like, right? It's going to raise around 3,000 crores, and it's actually an offer for sale, which means that NSDL won't be receiving any proceeds from the sale, right? Instead, big shareholders like NSC, HDFC Bank, SBI, and even the government will be selling their shares, and they will be getting the proceeds from the IPO as well.
And it's definitely something that we'll talk about as and when the IPO actually materializes. Given India's capital markets growth story, I'm sure this will be one that investors will be keeping an eye out on. All right, folks, and that's it from us for this edition of Bullseye. If you've enjoyed the episode, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and also click that bell icon so that you know when the next episode drops. We'll see you next Thursday.